Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy George here, just chilling, shining my shoes, and surfing my Twitter every now and then too. Basically, it's just a chilling day. I got to go to work tomorrow, and in my line of work, I got to have shiny shoes, so I got to keep them looking good, you know. So I'm just doing a little bit of that, and I thought this would be a perfect time to make a YouTube video. I thought I would focus on my personal catchphrases. I got a lot of them, but I'm gonna hit a few of the main big ones for this particular YouTube video because basically I'm bored and I have a camera and I don't see any reason why I shouldn't. So here goes. So first catchphrase I like to use a lot is, well, it's not really a word or particularly, but it's bam, 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 bam. And basically, bam, 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 bam just implies excellence or skill. So like if you got a friend who's good at basketball, just be like, yeah, he's like bam, 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 bam on the basketball court. And just anything. It goes for anything that's really like smooth and going well, you know. Look at it, it's just bam, 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 bam. I'm hoping that this video will be bam, 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 bam. But I don't think it will be. Who cares? Whatever, I'm just having fun. The second catchphrase that I throw down a lot, that a lot of people don't always get, is this calls for a Bud Light. And it's just like that. This calls for a Bud Light. I don't know, like a lot of people on YouTube are a lot younger than me, and they might not have seen the advertisement campaign that refers to. I think it was from like 2002 or something. I'd have to Google it, don't know. But back in the day, that was like their advertising for Bud Light. They'd be like, this calls for Bud Light. And it was like this guy with a big afro and everything. But yeah, basically that means anytime there's celebration. So if you like score the winning basket at the basketball game or whatever, or hit a home run, this calls for a Bud Light. And you gotta, yeah, and when you say it, after you finish saying this calls for Bud Light, you have to pose. You have to like do like a, like someone's gonna take your picture afterwards. It's like, this calls for a Bud Light. The other time you can use this calls for Bud Light is when work is done. So like, for example, on Friday night, you just get home from work or school or whatever it is you got on the go, just be like, this calls for a Bud Light. Chill out, you know. And when I say this calls for Bud Light, though I do enjoy Bud Light, and if I'm gonna have a beer, it'll either be a Bud Light or a Guinness, usually, because those are the lowest calorie beers. Just a word to the wise. So you don't even have to drink Bud Light. Like sometimes I'll be like, this calls for Bud Light, and I'll have a gin and tonic, or this calls for Bud Light, and I'll have like some scotch or whatever. Or maybe I'll just have a cup of tea, or I won't have anything. It's just, this calls for Bud Light. I'm done, man. It's over. Chill. It's chill time. That's basically what that means. This calls for a Bud Light. Time to chill. Celebration or chill time. Well, anyway, I could go on about that forever, but anyway, the next catchphrase that I'd like to talk about is stop everything. So that basically, you got two meanings with that one. So stop everything, first can be like, the main one I use it for is like, woohoo, you know, if someone points out something that's ridiculous, just like, stop everything. Like, you want to say it like dramatically, that, you know, you have to say it with conviction. Stop everything. But really, you don't need people to stop because it's rubbish. It's like no big deal. That's, I guess, the irony behind it. The second way in which you can use stop everything is if something is really cool. You're like, wait, or important or dangerous or whatever, just like stop everything. Like seriously, stop. And I know that that's, the thing is like, you know, people might not know. They'll think you're just being like, stop everything. But you're like, no, seriously, this time, stop everything. So that's kind of the fun thing about it. And it came from, I used to, like when you're driving, came from driving, and I used to be like, stop the car, when someone would point out something ridiculous. It's like, wow, look at that, like, Aldo outlet. An Aldo outlet, stop the car. But the problem with stop the car, even that if you're not in a car and you say stop the car, it doesn't make any sense. That's why you say stop everything. Next catchphrase is, let's not get carried away. Now that one's actually a very versatile catchphrase. Let's not get carried away. So the first one, obviously, the most obvious use of let's not get carried away is, for example, right now. I'm getting carried away. Right now, I should be shining my shoes, but instead, I'm talking to a camera, wasting time. So I'm kind of getting carried away. And whenever you see someone getting carried away or just like flying, on a tangent, be like, okay, let's not get carried away. Second use that for let's not get carried away, just put this down here. I don't want to scuff my shoe. It's, I take pride in the way, and so basically the other time is if someone's not paying attention. So for example, in my line of work, I have to often train a lot of soldiers. Soldiers, very kinetic people, like to be moving around, like to get up, do stuff. They don't like to just sit down and listen to them jibber jabber, but sometimes you got to do it. Like you got to learn, right? You want to learn football, you got to memorize the playbook. Like sometimes you just have to learn in an academic fashion. And I can tell when guys aren't paying attention, I'm always like, okay guys, let's not get carried away. Focus in here, it's important stuff, let's not get carried away. So that's when I throw down that catchphrase sometimes there in that example. Another example of using let's not get carried away is essentially it's a polite way to call bullshit. So if you got a friend who's like, whatever, your friend's like, yeah, I just had sex with Rihanna. Easy there, buddy. Let's not get carried away. If someone's kind of throwing you some sideways business, just be like, yeah, let's not get carried away here. And then the final catchphrase I'm going to discuss on this particular video is breaks over, back on your heads. So that's basically, I use that anytime I go back to work. Like Monday mornings when I get back to work, I'm like, okay guys, breaks over, back on your heads. All right, breaks over, back on your heads. Time to get back to work, back to the grindstone, breaks over, back on your head. So basically, I'll explain where that came from. I had a stepfather growing up, and we didn't always get along. God love him, but, he always had a great sense of humor. Best sense of humor, always cracking jokes. And that's really what one thing I definitely love about him. He was always cracking jokes. And one of his jokes was this. So there's this guy, let's say he was a lawyer, let's just choose that. But he wasn't like an environmental lawyer or anything. He was like an evil corporate lawyer. And he helped like big banks and stuff like that steal and rob from orphans and grandmas and widows and stuff to like make big banks rich and like collapse the economy and stuff. And he was like, and not only that, he was also just a bad guy. He cheated on his wife. He used to beat his kids. He's the worst lawyer ever. So when he died, he went to hell. And obviously, and the devil's like, okay, welcome to hell, Mr. Lawyer. You've got 3 options for where you're going to spend eternity. Okay, the first room is this, and he opens up a door, and it's like all these guys like chained to the wall, whoosh, and they're getting whipped, and like they're chained there and just getting beaten for eternity. And he's like, whoa, I'm not into that. No thanks. I don't want that room. So he's like, all right, fine. Second room. Opens up the door, it's like a pit of snakes. There's vipers everywhere, spitting vipers and cobras and rattlesnakes and every kind of snake imaginable, all in this room. Everywhere you look, just full of snakes. And he's like, ugh, that's creepy. No, I don't want the snake room. So okay, give me another option. So okay, this is door number 3. He opens the door number 3, and he walks in there and he's like, okay. And it's basically a big, huge room with a bunch of guys in it, and they're all just kind of chilling, just doing their own thing. But it's like full of crap, like it's full of sewage, like poo, up to about waist level, and they're all just sort of standing there, just a bunch of dudes standing in poo, and one guy's smoking a cigarette and one dude's drinking a coffee, and they're all just kind of chilling out in this room. And he's like, well, it smells bad, I'm not into this, it's kind of gross, but it's better than the other 2 options, so I'll take this one. Devil's like, all right, in you get. Wham! Slams the door shut, kaboom, and he's in there, and he's just chilling out. He was about to go up to start chatting to somebody and, meet the locals, so to speak. And then he hears over this big loudspeaker, he hears a voice come on, all right, everybody, the break is over. Back on your heads. Zing! That was my fancy joke. Okay, but yeah, so that's where that comes from. Break's over, back on your heads. And for me, I got to get back to shining my shoes, so my break's over, back on my head, and yeah, that's basically a couple of my catchphrases I wanted to throw down. So yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, if you've watched this video, you probably want this 9 minutes or whatever of your life back. Sorry, can't help you with that. And if you didn't watch this video, that's cool too. Peace.